All right, here we go. Number 55 of the reel. Just doing it a couple times a week right now. It's just a lot of stuff going on, but you gotta love it. You get this old truck, you get it downloaded, Reverb Nation. You get it off most of our sites. It's a great tune. I absolutely love doing it. One of the greatest things about doing this show is being able to write beautiful music and talk about the things I care about. So one of the biggest things that I want to talk about, we're coming up on Thanksgiving. You know, a lot of people in the great elections in the pandemic of 2020, which has been a pretty tough thing on a lot of people, they lost sight of what's the most important things, and that's our families. Where our governments have failed us and taken away just those basic liberties that we have by, telling everybody they'd rather not or don't want anybody to get together for the Thanksgiving holiday. Well, here's the big thing on it, okay? And here's the big thing. That is their whole plan: divide the families. You have the governor of Oregon, putting out one of her edicts. That lady has absolutely lost her mind. I mean, look what happened in her state. Putting out an edict telling that, if anybody has any large family gatherings, to call the police. They have lost their ever loving minds. And then that is the truth on that. They've taken it to such a level now that, most of us can't comprehend what they're doing. What they're doing is, one, is stripping us of our rights, taking away our liberties. They started with their guns. They started with our children in our schools. So don't lose sight of what we got going for Thanksgiving. Okay? It's just, 2 days away. Myself, I'll be with my mother, who's battled cancer all this year of 2020. It has just ravaged her. It's absolutely heartbreaking. And then, and my heart goes out to everybody who's been ravaged by the COVID-19. But with that said, is this Thanksgiving, give thanks, love your family, and be together. Do not allow our governments to dictate whether we're going to be able to see each other or not. Okay. Because remember, in the flu season, although there is no flu or pneumonia being reported. So let's just move on real quick. I just wanted to remind you how important it was this Thanksgiving holiday, spend it with your family and have a good time. Because all Americans need it, okay? We all need the break from the elections. It's hard. I know the politicians want us all to understand that, their piles of money and their lifestyle is more important than ours. But damn it, they seem to always forget that there's one that supplies that lifestyle: the American people. The American people, and we have to be able to believe. So, and one of those things is you got the Democrats on the left and Republicans on the right. As George Washington had said, that a two-party system does not work. A two-party system does not work. One side will become more corrupt than the other and use what we're seeing today in the 2020 elections. But one of the greatest things, Pennsylvania's called for Joe Biden, okay? But I'm going to play a clip here in a second, and it's going to talk about, Donald Trump will be talking about how the stock market went over 30,000 for the first time. And so it was at that point. So here it goes.
And we are bringing you right now to the White House here. President Trump remarks.
Everybody, the stock market, Dow Jones Industrial.
It's a little bit of video loss on their side.
And that's just despite everything that's taken place with the pandemic. I'm very thrilled with what's happened on the vaccine front. That's been absolutely incredible. It's nothing like that has ever happened medically, and I think people are acknowledging that.
So let me interrupt that real quick. Think of the stock market above 30,000. Barack Obama was in jubilation when it went above 20,000 in jubilation. There's no doubt about it. Donald Trump has made America again independent, which, as you see, the rest of the world no longer wants that, okay? And they no longer want that. So that's why you see all the rigmarole to get him out of office. But here's more of that clip. But imagine the stock market above 30,000.
And it's having a big effect. But the stock market's just broken 30,000. Never been broken, that number. That's a sacred number, 30,000. Nobody thought they'd ever see it. That's the 9th time since the beginning of 2020, and it's the 48th time that we've broken records during the Trump administration. And I just want to congratulate all the people within the administration that work so hard. And most importantly, I want to congratulate the people of our country, because
See, you don't ever see any other politicians congratulating the people of the country for being strong and steadfast for all the things they've had to go through. You just don't, you don't hear it, because to them we're plebes. That's what the Romans would call the common folk, plebes. That's what we are, is plebes to the what looks like the incoming Democratic Party. Donald Trump has a legal pathway to take this thing. It's not looking really good at this point. So all the jubilation that we have for our stock market being over 30,000, the wars in the Middle East all but over. Well, that's coming straight back, because what's going to happen is the new administration is going to come in, kickstart ISIS again, kickstart the wars in the Middle East. That military-industrial complex makes a lot of money. So it's actually scary, because that stock market crash, that means all of our 401ks are gone. Be just like in 2008, when our lives were upended by another man who spread a whole bunch of false truths. So here's the rest of that clip of Donald Trump. He's just talking about everything that's went on in the accomplishments of his administration, which are vast, far more than the previous 10.
there are no people like you. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
All righty there. We just saw the briefest remarks there from the president, talking about the 30K number there, 30,000 for the Dow, hitting a record, and then thanking his staff as well as the administration for hitting that number. But boy, that was a record. That was the shortest we saw ever President Trump talk there. So that was a new record that was just...
And it was a short record that, he was talking, because here's the biggest thing in the picture. I don't think that everybody's seen. And once again, this is just Mel Highsmith's opinion, and The Real is an opinion-based show. But, of course, he's going to be angry. He did everything that he said he was going to do for the American people, okay? The only thing that he wanted done that didn't happen was a second stimulus. But here's the thing. If they would have got the money before the election, they would have burnt the cities down. And now there isn't going to be anything, because you better believe your bottom dollar to Nancy Pelosi, Joe Biden don't give two flying flips about anybody. They don't. When they went through and pushed through that giant historic stimulus, $2.2 trillion back in March, all that unemployment money, all it did is win fuel for all those idiots to get out in the streets and riot and march. And now they're wanting theirs. They were promised, if they helped get Joe Biden elected, I'm talking about BLM, Antifa, all that crap, that they wanted their due. Well, they're going to get their due. And they're about to find out that the same people that paid them off to riot and loot and burn, harass American citizens across the country in our bigger cities, I think they're about to find out that it's the same as in the 1980s when we went in Afghanistan. We threw the Russians out, supplied them with all this stuff to commit war with, and then we pulled out, took away all the money. That's about going to happen, and now you're going to have all these organizations that have been basically terrorized the American people and been militarized to some extent. Now you're going to see them enact their revenge upon their Democratic keepers. It's sad. I mean, what American in their right right mind, thinks it's okay to harass your neighbor because of your own beliefs? I'm a Christian. I love God. Jesus Christ is my Savior. But I'm not going to go beat on my door, my next door neighbor, and tell them you're going to believe the way I believe. Okay? People ask me why I wear this American scarf around my neck. Here it is. I'll say it once again. America is bigger than the sum of one person. So I wear it over my shoulders, because that's the weight I must bear. That's the weight I must bear. So anyways, it's been a tough time. So let's talk about, Joe Biden, just a little bit. Joe Biden is declaring that America is back. He's introducing selections for his national security team here on Tuesday, which is today. His first substantive offering of how he plans to shift from the Trump era American first policies by relying on foreign policy and national security experts from the Democrat establishment to be some of his most important advisors. Well, Mr. Biden, I wouldn't use John Kerry, because the last time when President Obama used him, he sent him to Iran. We ended up giving him $125 billion. So don't use any of those people. As the Romans found out in days of old, when you buy off your enemy, you're only draining your coffers and increasing theirs and building their might up. But the Democrats don't care, because most of these people are in their 70s and 80s. They're going to be dead before the ramifications of what they gave birth to is going to come. And it's going to be bleeding across America for many, many generations. It's absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. So Biden's Washington veterans all have ties to former President Barack Obama's administration. And he doesn't mean veterans as in military veterans, because we know that Democrats do not care about the veterans. We know that. They've totally gutted the VA prior to Donald Trump coming into office. So why should they care? They're more into sexual rearrangement operations than they are their soldiers who need help. Okay? So that is those veterans that came from Barack Obama's administration. Is what he's meaning. As the Democrat has sought to deliver a clear message about his desire to reestablish a more predictable engagement from the United States on a global stage. We have been on the global stage for 100 years now. China has become uber wealthy because of America. They dump their garbage products here, and Americans lap them up just like a puppy in a bowl. That's why you get toys that break, furniture doesn't work. That's what it is. It's a dumping ground. They got slave labor over there. What do they care about? So, Biden also said the team he's put together reflects the fact that America is back, ready to lead the world, not retreat from it. This is what Biden says. He said this at an introductory event at which his selection stood on stage at least 6 feet apart and masked. It's amazing. The greatest pandemic known to man. I promise you, when these elections are over, you're going to see that greatest pandemic go out of here that fast. They have scared the hell out of the American people. They have put neighbors against neighbors, family against family. And when is enough going to be enough that we can all say that we are tired? We are tired. These politicians who have been in office, Joe Biden, 47 years. Nancy Pelosi, 36 years. Chuck Schumer, 44 years. You can go on down the line. Chuck Schumer and Joe Biden have been in political office longer than I have worked, and I'm 51 years old. Okay? What have they accomplished, people? But you can't make anybody, because the same idiots who say that Donald Trump said to drink Lysol is the same idiots who want this man back in office. It's insane. So Joe Biden's team includes Antony Blinken, a veteran foreign policy hand well regarded on Capitol Hill, whose ties to Biden go back some 20 years. He wants to tie him in for Secretary of State. Lawyer Alejandro Mayorkas, Homeland Security Secretary. Linda Thomas Greenfield, U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations. Well, we're going to start dumping money back into the United Nations again. So, we provide all the money, we provide all the equipment, and all you have is a whole group of some very, very, let's say, not well-off countries who have all their security paid for off the backs of the American people. So, okay, and then his next pick was Obama White House alumnus Jack Sullivan as National Security Advisor. Admiral Haynes, a former deputy director of CIA, was picked to serve as director of national intelligence. I don't think anybody from the CIA should be in any position or in the top position when it comes to intelligence for America. Okay? Because you really got to think of it. The CIA there is there for covert ops. They're not here for the everyday people, but you can't just tell anybody that. They're just not going to believe you. You know what I mean? It's absolutely, it's un-American. Okay, and here you go. And I brought his name up before I got to this article, so here you go. And former Secretary of State John Kerry will make a curtain call as a special envoy on climate change. Kerry and Sullivan's positions will not require Senate confirmation. Well, of course not. Senator John Kerry, who is a multi-billionaire and probably 3 times richer than Donald Trump, and most people don't know that. Truth. Very, very wealthy man. He married very, very well. So, can you imagine climate change? That's old AOC's Green New Deal, $92 trillion. $92 trillion. Guess who gets to pay for that one? The American people. So, I saw a picture on social media the other day, and it showed the electric pump or whatever it is for the electric cars, right? It's out in a park where people can pull up and charge electric cars hooked up to a diesel generator. Please, people, please. When the American people wake up and understand that the politicians do not have their best interest, there ain't much time left. You know what I mean? So, with the Senate's balance of power hinging on 2 runoff races in Georgia, we're in trouble there. That will be decided in January. Some Senate Republicans have already expressed antipathy to Biden's picks as little more than Obama world retreads. Man, did anybody ever think that Joe Biden was his own person anyways? Seriously. Man can't do a debate without being aided all the way through it. So, Senator Tom Cotton, an Arkansas Republican and potential 2024 GOP presidential hope for, that'll be Donald Trump, guys. I guarantee he's going to run again. Trust me, that's what he's going to do. Accused Biden of surrounding himself with panda huggers who will go soft on China, of course, because it's not anything about the American people. With his son, Hunter Biden, brought in $1.5 billion into his coffers, and no one's even concerned with it. No one even cares about it. That's the wild thing that just continues to blow my mind the most about it, that no one says anything about that. Really. Us regular folk down here, Mr. Biden, you would make us pay if that was us. So, anyways, Senator Marco Rubio, who sits on the Senate Foreign Relations Committee that will consider Blinken's nomination, broadly rolled off the early selections as very uninspiring. Very uninspiring. But these are selections by the single most popular politician in the history of politics here in America. The man garnered more votes than any other president in history. Isn't that wild? Isn't that wild? Everybody's kidding. Knows the name of Trump, but they damn sure don't know the names of Biden. So Biden's cabinet picks went to Ivy League schools, as they say, they're little rich kids who didn't have to grow up in the streets like the rest of us, worried about the food in their mouths. Have strong resumes, attend all the right conferences, and will be polite and orderly caretakers of America's decline, Rubio tweeted. And you got to look at those things. They're going to be polite and orderly caretakers of America's decline. We've got to spend 4 years making America great again, bringing soldiers home, and in these wars, they're taking lives of our young men and women, okay? And that's never really talked about. Everybody always just talks about, the safety of Afghanistan, the safety of Iraq, Iran, China, and all that, but no one cares about the children. One of the greatest things that Donald Trump did is he sent out a task force to round up these sick SOBs who have been stealing our children off the streets and putting them into child slavery and sex trafficking. With Joe Biden as president, you're going to see that go away, and our children will start disappearing again because they must feed the beast. They must feed the beast. That's the scariest thing about it all. That we actually have to sit here and worry about our children on a day-to-day basis, being scared as hell from our own government. You know, Biden's transition team held his picks as a group of crisis-tested leaders. They were crisis-tested leaders, man. There's a whole bunch of people that are all for giving our enemy, Iran, $125 billion to buy them off. You know, you just imagine that in your mind, okay? All these politicians, they're taking over Washington once again. They gave $125 billion to our enemy. And say, hey, don't make any more nuclear weapons. So here's a whole bunch of money so you can buy more centrifuges from Russia and China and North Korea. Funny, right? See how that works? It's crazy. But you don't get that on the social media or anywhere. You just don't hear it anymore. They buried it all because they don't want you to remember anything because you're a bunch of plebes. If you're wondering what plebes are, the Romans called the common folk plebes. That's what we are to these politicians. So it just absolutely breaks my heart. It really does. You know, coming into this Thanksgiving season, that Thanksgiving's always been about, you know, remembering the beginning of America. But to the current leaders we have on Capitol Hill, Thanksgiving doesn't matter because we are no longer free. We are their slaves. We are their plebes. So outside the realm of the national security and foreign policy, Biden is expected to choose Janet Yellen as the first woman to become Treasury Secretary. He also picked the next president in like 6 months to run him as vice president. So you did two of them, Mr. Biden. Because you think that staff is going to keep you around, you're a fool. She was nominated by President Barack Obama to lead the Federal Reserve, the first woman in that position, and served from 2014 to 2018. Biden said his choices reflect the idea that we cannot meet with these challenges with old thinking and unchanged habits. Mr. Biden, you're doing precisely the opposite. You're bringing in the same people Barack Obama used and using the same habits to get there. Fraud. Biden said he tasked them to reassert global and moral leadership. Moral leadership. Moral leadership. Morals. My morals tell me that children need to be kept safe. My morals tell me that you're not going to bribe me. My morals tell me that I must be accountable for my own actions. And Joe Biden doesn't have to because he has almost 50 years in Congress. You know, Joe Biden's emerging cabinet marks a return to a more traditional approach of governing. More of the same thing. We got it from Bill Clinton, George Bush, Barack Obama. It's just relying on veteran policymakers to do the same with deep expertise and strong relationships in Washington and world capitals. Strong relationship in Washington and world capitals. What does it have to do with all of us sitting down with Thanksgiving dinner that we should have to worry about the rest of the world? We already supply military protection for half the planet. Thanks to Democrats, we gush money from our coffers to pay off all of our enemies. So, you know, Biden is acting on his campaign promise to lead a team that reflects the diversity of America. Well, you know, I'm gonna be honest. The changes that we had with the last administration, God, I'm probably gonna get in trouble saying it, but throwing sexual toys at people and stuff like that, that's not protection. Okay? Telling our little boys they look better in dresses than they do in their clothes, that's not protection. Allow people to go into the female bathrooms, that is not protection. That's not diversity in America. We're already diverse before y'all started your stuff in the last administration. So Thomas Greenfield, let's see, Thomas Greenfield is an African-American man, and Mayorkas is a Cuban-American. Mayorkas might pose the most difficult confirmation challenge from Biden's early round of nominees. The Senate previously confirmed him in December 2013 by a party-line vote to be the Deputy Secretary of Homeland Security. God. The Senate was controlled by Democrats then, and all Senate Republicans voted against Mayorkas' confirmation, mainly because he was then under investigation by the Obama-appointed Inspector General in that department. Well, go figure, you know? It's a funny thing is the Democrats are very good at putting other people under investigation, but when they come under investigation, this is what they say. I did not have sex with that woman. Or, I puffed, but I didn't inhale. Reflecting the truth, always on somebody else. The Inspector General, John Ralph, found in March 2015 that Mayorkas, the Director of U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, appeared to give special treatment to certain people as part of the visa program and gives residency preferences to immigrants who agree to invest in the U.S. economy. The immigrants that are coming to the country, we want to help anybody. I want to help any American citizen. It's the truth. But when these countries unload their prisons and then send them on marches up here, and then these liberal lunatics just open them in because they're like, more votes. More votes. I'm going to give you all some advice right now to the Democrats. Here's what's going to happen. Okay? It's the same thing that happened to Rome. After 500 years, you could go to the capital of Rome. Okay? This is Rome, Italy. And only 1% of the Romans there were natural born. The rest were all immigrants. And we all know the fall of the Roman Empire. Okay, so the Pentagon said on Tuesday that Kash Patel, that's Indian, the Patels from India, the Chief of Staff to the Acting Secretary of Defense, is heading the department's transition work. A transitions task force has been assembled, led by Tom Muir, the head of the Pentagon office that provides administrative and management services to all the Defense Department facilities in the Washington area. So Trump, who continues to press legal challenge to overturn the election results, which he should rightfully, and just interlude right there, Dominion, their voting checking software, the company has closed down. They are gone. Why is that? You're not seeing that on the news. You're not seeing that on the news. So again, today has not conceded to Biden, which he should not, despite allowing the GSA to begin the transition process. But Trump noted on Twitter that GSA does not determine who the next president of the United States would be, and neither does mail-in voting. I'll go ahead and say it. 59% of a state is absentee voting versus the year before was non-existent. Voter fraud. My mailbox, I received plenty of stuff from the Democrats saying mail in your votes. So anyways, we're at the end of the show, and I want to tell you that my faith in our government is waning hard because I'm not going to wear the blinders. I'm an American person. I love you. God bless you. And this is episode number 55 of The Real with Mel Highsmith, and here is just a little prayer to get us on out of here. Dear Lord, please give us the strength to protect ourselves in these dark times. Dear Lord, lay your mighty fist in front of the predators who want to hurt our children. Dear Lord, guide us through this darkness. And in your name, amen. And remember this, #save our children. If you want more of The Real with Mel Highsmith, subscribe to my channel on YouTube. Like my page on Facebook. You go to Society Radio on Facebook, like that, societyradio.com, highsmithexperience.com. And if you want to get you a download of This Old Truck, which is our intro theme song, to the show, the reel, you can go to ReverbNation.com, Highsmiths. Go inside there, you can download it. It's a great song. It's doing really, really well. So until tomorrow, we'll see you. Now let's finish this off with something I love the most. Let's take it out with a little bit of solo. Remember, ReverbNation.com.